Hey my friend, it's Duc. Have you ever wanted to become an iOS developer, to build apps as your career that you find meaningful and joyful in doing that? Well, in this webinar, in this video, I would love to teach you how to build your first app. Actually, I will play for you the replay of my last week webinar that I did with my email subscribers on the 3 steps to build your first iOS app. And we'll build together this amazing, beautiful app. Very simple but very beautiful, and you will learn a lot in building apps, about programming, about all the things that you need to learn about building apps for iOS. So if you haven't, on my webinar and also on my email subscribers, so just click the link on this button to number 1, download the resources for this webinar, for this video. You need those resources to build this app that I prepared for you. Number 2, I would love to give you my new iOS course for free. There is the 3 steps to build your first iOS app. Number 3, I would love to give you my instruction, the roadmap that I would take to build 11 apps in just 6 weeks. The exact roadmap that I will take to build 11 apps in just 6 weeks. And number 4 is once you enter your name and email on that page to sign up for my free newsletter, then I will give you free instructions, free tutorial videos every single week once you are on my newsletter. Don't worry, no spam ever, just free awesome tutorials for you every single week. So click the link on this page, on this video, and enter your name and email there. Now enjoy the webinar. Download the resources first by clicking this link. Enjoy this webinar, and I'll see you next week.
Hey everyone, it's Duc Tran, founder of Developers Academy and creator of the Total iOS Blueprint. Welcome to our webinar on how to build your first iOS app. 11 more to go. Here today, if you haven't attained of any of my webinar, I am going to over deliver to you, and as always I will give you some of the free bonuses for your continuing trainings and education as my thanks for staying till the end of this webinar. I hope that you enjoy this, and in our short time together we will cover the 3 steps for you to build your first iOS apps. You don't need any prior programming experience. As people say, you just need a Mac, a free software called Xcode, and these 3 steps. We'll talk about that. At the end of this webinar, I promise you that you will know how to build an app from scratch, a complete iOS app that you can run on your phone. You know how to program in less than 1 hour. And I'm excited to share with you how I can help you to build 11 more apps in just 6 weeks without any prior programming experience. It is unheard of, this result. And hey, I would love to share with you, to have your permission to talk about this special new training there for you at the end of this webinar. So stick around, because I think that you really enjoy what we have for you till the end. I would love to serve you and train you to become a world-class developer with some really awesome extra bonuses. Look, what we are talking about here is really important, because maybe you have been trying to become an iOS developer but it didn't work out quite well. You still haven't been able to build apps on your own, or maybe you just want so bad to quit the jobs that you are doing. You don't find the meaning and the fulfillment and the satisfaction there anymore. Or maybe you just want to create something that matters, that contributes to the world, that makes you feel meaningful. And I'm here today to tell you that you can do this. You can start from scratch right now, today, right here. I will show you how to, without any prior programming experience, to become an iOS developer, to build apps, to do something that is meaningful, to create something that matters. You can do this. I know this because this guy can do this. This is me back in college, and when at that time I had this American dream that if I can just go to a college in the United States. I'm from Vietnam, so shout me back in the chat world if you guys are from Vietnam. I have this American dream that if I can just go into American college, I will have the skills I need to become someone that matters, to create something that matters, and I can take care of my family. And so I leave my family, go to American college, strive so much, work so hard, but it didn't work out quite well. It turns out I have to cover 3 jobs on campus just to have the expenses covered, and I wasn't taught the skills, the trainings I expect to create something that matters, to create something that can contribute to the world, that can help other people, that I feel fulfilled. So I embark on this journey. I stayed nights and days to read books and watch video tutorials. I know that you have been doing that and watching courses, but people always say to us, right, that you must have years of programming experience in order to build apps, in order to start a company, in order to do something. People always say that. But I can't wait anymore. I can't wait to see my dream died. I can't wait to see myself and my family in poverty, in hardship anymore. So I march on, and I know that you march on too. That's why you are here. That's why I honor you so much. I push myself just like we did. And as we gain more skills, as we get better at what we do, opportunities just open up for us. And my first freelancing project is a $500 project to build some very, very simple apps for a friend's business. And now it's just unbelievable. Every year, more than 1 million developers watch our trainings and tutorials. 30,000 developers graduate from our courses, from our video tutorials courses. Now we did startup projects for $25,000 to $50,000, and more importantly, I can quit my jobs. I love the job that I'm doing now here for you guys, to create something, to train you guys. I love the lifestyle that I have. And I believe that most importantly is I can take care of myself and my family. That's so meaningful. And I hope that I can help you here today to do the same. Because if this guy can do this, then you can do it too. So let me share with you the 3 steps to build your first iOS apps and 11 more apps to go in just 6 weeks. The first thing you need to know is what is programming, because in order to build apps, you cannot get around. You can hire someone, but if you want you to build it, then you need to know about programming. And what is program? It is to show the computer step-by-step instruction to do something. That is that. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. People get too much complex about that, too complicated about that. All it does is you show it step-by-step instruction to do something, like writing a detailed recipe. And in order to talk to the computer, in order to program, you will need a programming language. Here we use Swift as our programming language. We'll talk about that, and you will learn how to code in just a moment. And in order to build apps in iOS, you will need to go right now. Yeah, let's go right now into the App Store. Open the App Store, search for this tool called Xcode. And this is a free tool from Apple. Just download it, just use the latest version, and let's get started. I hope that you will somehow pause this workshop or do it along with me, or take some screenshot, take some awesome notes here, and let's build your first iOS app here. I already have my Xcode right here set up for you guys, and some awesome resources I prepare for you. So click the link right down below this video, download these resources for you, just some resources that I prepare for the app, so that we can save us some time. And here's the app today. We are going to be a game, a question game. It's like the heads up game that every time we click the button next question, there will be a new question for us to play, to answer. It's just that simple, but you will learn so much about programming, about building your first app. So here is Xcode. I hope that you already download or install that. If you haven't, just take some screenshot and then take some notes, and you can do it at the end. Okay, so this is Xcode. When you open it for the first time, or every time you open it, you have some options here. I'll click into create a new Xcode project, and in order, this is the first screen you will see. I always use iOS single view application. Now, this tool right here is the tool for you to build any kind of app that related to Apple products. Yeah, you can build iOS app, watchOS app, tvOS app, macOS app, or even cross-platform apps. Okay, so let's create a single view application app. It means that your app start out with just one single screen, and you will build apps from scratch. There's no code generated for us. So let's click next. Here, the product name, you have to fill in this kind of like a form right here. The product name is the name of your app. So I will put in, let's say, questions, or let's do it heads up, which is a game very famous here in the United States. And we have the team. You don't worry about that if you don't have that. The organization is Developers Academy. I put in my company here. The organization identifier, usually we'll use a reverse domain name. If you don't have your domain, just use mine, io.developersacademy. And then from that organization identifier, we have something we call a bundle identifier. This is the identifier that identifies your app uniquely from millions of apps out there on the App Store. It's kind of like your social ID. Okay, and then we have the language. You can choose between Swift or Objective-C. Here I use Swift. It is modern, it is new, it is exciting, and you'll love it. Let's choose devices to be universal because you want to build one app that can work on billions of devices, right? Imagine if your app can just hit a button, population on the App Store, and billions of people can use it. That is that power. So let's click next. I put it right into my desktop or in the developers folder. There we go. Now, don't get too concerned about all of these settings yet. We'll talk about that as we go. I just want to introduce you to some of the buttons that is really important. And as we go, you will see that there's a lot more we can talk about. Here, we have one button is the play button. This one will run our project, will build the project and run the project. It means that it will run your app on the phone or something on, we call it a simulator. Here, if you click into this button right here, you have something we call a simulator. It means that it is a software on the Mac that it simulates the iPhone. So if I click to this iPhone 6s right here, I just like to use this guy, okay? And it will run it. You'll see this status bar. It says it's running, and it's running heads up on iPhone 6s. And then let me open my simulator right here. It is loading. So let me show you some of the other stuff. On the right hand side, you see this thing is the utilities panel. In the middle, we have the editor. And then on the left hand side right here is the project navigator that Xcode already generated for us. Okay. Now, if you open Xcode for the first time, the font may seem really small. So let's hit the Command comma button to go to preferences, and then I will choose presentation large. You can change the font here. I use this font so you guys can see it. And now, Xcode already opened up the font for the app for us on this simulator, and this is your first app. There we go. You just built your first app. Now quit this. I'm kidding. This is literally, yeah, this is your first app. It is not, because we are going to build this app together, but because we haven't put anything on the device, on the app yet. So it starts out as a blank canvas, right? So what I want you to do is to import some images. So let's go and click into this assets.exe assets. This is kind of like a folder for you to import tons of images inside your app. And what I want you to do is open the resources folder that you can download right down below. And then what I want to do is drag out this logo.png into this guy. And you'll see the import like that. And then I'll open up this app icon folder. Command I, select all, and then drag all of these things. Oops, sorry guys. And then we'll click into this app icons. And then I will drag out all of these icons over here to select all of these icons, and then we have our app icon. Alright? Then now it is our first step. Let's go into the 3 steps, right? The first step is to build the app's UI, to build the user interface of the app. So if you open up Xcode right here, this is the main.storyboard. Open this guy called the main.storyboard. It is literally a storyboard of your app. You can design your app UI right here. So this thing, do you look familiar? Yeah, it represents an app screen. This is the screen of your app. And the reason why you see a blank screen right here on the simulator is because this screen doesn't have anything, right? So let's design our app UI. We have our mockup right here, so let's design our app. The first thing you need to see is we have this colored background. So let's change our background into colored. So I will select this white background right here, right? Select it, and then I'll go over this panel. If you don't see it, you can click this button to hide and show it, and then I will click over here, and then click the fourth tab right here. This is the attribute inspector. We'll use this guy a lot in this workshop and in your iOS developer career too. So let's click into this background. I will click this color, and then you see there's a color picker right here. I would choose any color that I like, so you can use any color you like. You can use the color picker right here. I use this color, okay? And then, let me see. Now, when we have this background color, let's see, we have also the text for our question, right? So how can we get the text? Should we write some code here? No, we can just, if you see right down below here, if you can drag it like that. This is the object palette. It means that it contains some of the popular UI elements that you use in iOS. So if you scroll right down here, you will see we have a button, we have the label, we have the segmented control that you use it in your iOS app. We have the text field, we have the slider, we have the switches, we have the activity indicator, that little circle, we have the progress view, all of those things ready for you to use it. All you need to do is, drag it right here to the screen like that, okay? And now I want to open up my questions like this so that I can copy paste it. To save us some time, I will copy the first question right here, and then let's double click onto this label. It says the label, it's just some plain text, right? And then we copy paste like that, okay? And then you will see that this text here, it is too big, so we'll just scale it down like this. Okay, just scale it down like that, and then we'll configure that. All right. Then after that, I will still select this label, go over the attribute inspector right here, and then you'll see that we can configure this guy. I will change the color of the label into, let's choose white color. And then let's change the font of this guy so our app looks nice. And one of the important I'm so proud of is that I will show you to design the app as much detailed as this to have a beautiful app. And in Total iOS Blueprint, you will see that we will help you to build so beautiful apps like this. So let's use a custom font, and the family will use Avenir Next. Just scroll above there, we have Avenir Next like that. And then the style here, I will use let's use medium, okay? And let's change the font size into 21 and click done, okay? Now you see that our text right here, the text right here that we have right there, it is cut off, right? It is cut off because the lines here, we only allowed one line to be displayed. We want to have as many lines that we want because our question might get long, right? Like some people want to ask a question that is so long that you fall asleep to see that. So let's have multiple lines for those people. So I will click into 1, change it instead of 1 into 0. 0 in iOS means that you have multiple lines. Like that, you see, we have 3 lines now. Not 2, but 3, and we have multiple lines, okay? So now, let's drag this guy. I will drag this guy up until the edge of the screen, and you'll see there's a blue lines right there. It is very, very important that you use the blue lines so that you have the estimate of the UI, okay? So this thing up to the edge, and then I'll put it right in the middle of the screen. I will drag it like this so it grows bigger. We have more screens for the text, and drag it to the edge of the right edge like that. All right, it looks great. Now that is our text for the images. I'm sorry, for the question. Let's do the button, the next question button. So let's do that. We will have a button right here. Drag it out like that. And then I will double click onto this button and we see we have the button. Change it into next question. Press enter. Alright. And then what I want to do is I want to drag this button to the edge, down to the bottom like that. And then we will drag the button to the right again. So we have a big giant button. And so let's change this size of the button into this. And when we drag it like that, you will see that we have the width and the height, right? This label over there. I want to change the width into 44, like that. Nice. Now, let's change the font of this button. I know that I go a little bit fast here because I want you to focus. I want you to concentrate. I hope that you can feel the energy and I lift up the energy a little bit because learning to program, it should be fun. It shouldn't be like sleepy or weird or something. It should be fun, right? So let's click into this next button and then we change the font over here into, let's change it into 19. And then I'll choose, instead of custom, we use custom font. Family is Avenue Next again. Love this font. And I will change it into demi bold like that, and change it into 19 again. All right. Now, if you look at our mock-up of the device, oops, right here, we have this button to be white background and the green text, right? I hope that that's the green. Now, let's change this guy. I will select the button, still the button. Drag it like that, drag it below there. Okay. And then drag it down below into the attribute inspector. You have a view right here. Okay. And then I will change the background. There's a background property. Change it into white color. You should see a white color right there. Change it into white. And then let's change the text color of this button. Right above there, there's a text color. Change it into the color that I want. There we go. Okay, you can change any color that you love. I love this color. It's look very, very peaceful. All right, there we go. So that is, my friends, our app UI. Now, believe or not, if you run the project once again, click this button, run it once again, or you can close it like that and then run it. Okay, then you will see that our app will be running in just a moment right here. Let's see our app. Here we go, my friend. That is our app right there. It's very, very beautiful, isn't it? It's so easy to do this. And we have a button that we can click on right here. And the text, the beautiful button, there we go. We don't have to write any code yet, right? But now, in order to have our app changes the question, when we click into the next question, when we want to change our question, right? So we have to write some code here. There's no way around that. We have to write some code. And before we do that, I want to add some touch into the UI. So if you look at the assets, the IC assets, we have a logo there. So let's change it because, let's add a logo into this guy. So I would tap the fourth tab right here. There's an images. So we'll drag out this logo to the screen like this. And I will drag it to the top, to the edge. Change the size a little bit, okay, and then put it right into the middle. Now you see that this logo, it may change the text weird like this. You can click into this logo, go over the attribute inspector. You see that this is an image view. It shows an image, and there's a view here. Change the content mode into aspect fit like that, and it should looks really awesome right there. So now if I run the app once again, then it should show our logo on the screen. Let's see. Come on. Boom. There we go. We have our logo, we have our text, and we have the question. Now it's time for us to write some code to make sure that this app works with code to learn programming. And this is your time to learn programming. So what I want to do is click into this view controller right here. You see this circle, little yellow circle. Click into this view controller and then hit over this button, these two circles intertwined like that. Click that button. And this thing is called the assistant editor. And when you click it, I will hide some of these things right here. And when you click it, you should be able to see that one screen, half of the screen is your UI. Still the main storyboard, right? On the other hand of the screen is our code. These are some of the code that is already generated for us by Xcode. We can ready to use. If you don't see this exact code that I'm showing you right here, you can click to this jumper right there. Click automatic, and then you see the view controller, or this view controller.script, or you can click to manual, heads up, and then you should see the view controller.script and click it there. Okay. There we go. This is our code right here. But now, I don't care about these lines of code. So I will select from this line over here, down below there, and delete it. Remember that still maintain these two curly braces. Alright? Now, I hope that I already shared with you in the beginning of this webinar that I will not tell you everything in Swift in this webinar, in this video, because we don't have the time, and I don't want to overwhelm you with all of these concepts. As we move along, we will learn about that, and as we move along, you will know everything about that, okay? So here, inside this class, what I want to do, the first thing, number one, is I want to store an array of questions. It means that a bunch of questions that I want to show to my friends, right? So in order to do that, we want to use something called a variable. And so let's write a variable here, typing it exactly like what I'm typing in, right? Because if this is like showing the computer exact step-by-step instruction programming, otherwise it will not listen. So let's have var, it stands for variable. And then we have the name of the variable, questions, and then have the equal sign. I will assign it a value, and then I'll have the open and close bracket like this. These open and close brackets, it denotes that this is an array. It stores a sequence or series of values. Okay, so I press enter like that, so we have separation, and then I have a tab right there. Okay, let's make some room there for you guys so you can see it. So inside this one, we will store an array of questions, which is a string. Right? Question is some text. It means that it is a string. The type of the question is a string. So we have two open and close quotation mark like this. Remember that you need these two open and close quotation mark. Alright? And then I'll go over these questions that I had before here for you guys. So if you haven't downloaded it, download it now and then copy each of the question. Just copy the first question, paste it into the quotation mark. And then at the end of this quotation mark, we have to separate it to the next one. So I have a comma, press enter, next quotation mark, and then I will paste it like this. What is the name of the spaceship first landed on the moon? I hope that everyone knows about that. And then comma, we have the next question. This one I don't know. Here we go. Comma. Remember that you still need these quotation mark. Okay, what does Ambrose mean in Latin? Translate into sentinels. I don't know what even that means, but I do know that Ambrose means umbrella. And then we have what's the first photo printed. So let's have this guy, comma. Remember that you have to have the quotation mark and the comma. If you do it like this and the comma, it doesn't work. You have to have quotation mark, close quotation mark, and then comma. Otherwise, it will not work, okay? And copy paste the last one right here and done. And the last one, you don't need the comma again because it's the ends of these questions. There we go. Now we have our very first very first variable in Swift. This is programming, my friend. It's just that simple. It's not some crazy rocket science stuff, all right? So next, I want to connect somehow, because we want to, whenever we click this button, right, we want to change the text of this label, of this question label right there, right? So we have the need to have the connection from our UI to our code. How can we do that? This is so intuitive, so simple, and so beautifully done. So we can hold the control key, hold the control key, drag from the label to our code right here below these brackets like that, and release it. And you will see this pop up, this dialog box right here. And then we have a connection is an outlet. It means that an outlet, a connection from the UI to our code. And then we have the name. Let's change the name into something we called question label. Oops, label like that. And press connect. There we go. And you will see that we have an IB outlet. It means that it is a connection, an outlet from our code right here into this guy so that we can change the properties of these labels. And then we have the question label of typed UI label. It means that this is a label, which is this guy with the name of question label. That's it, okay? Don't worry about all of those stuff, other stuff. We'll talk about that if we have time right here. And then next, when we click into this next button, what we want to do is change the text of this guy, right? So we have to have another connection to know that someone just tapped our button. So let's control drag again, hold the control key, drag it from the next question to this guy and release it. And then I will change the connection type from outlet into connection. Into action. And then we change the name right here into our next question, that tab. And you see that the naming convention that we use over here, the first one is always lowercase, and then the next word is uppercase and then uppercase, so that we can see it very clearly. Don't use space here. If you use space here, it will not work, okay? You have to write in one word. Don't use space here. And then hit connect. All right. Now after that, we will have this thing we call a function. It means that we will perform a task right here. Because when we click to this next button, we want to perform change the text of the question. Change to the next question, right? So we have to perform a function, a task. So press enter like that, so we have some space here. All right. Now let's write some code. It's time for us to write some code, will we? So what we want to do here, what do we want to do here? Firstly, we want to check, we want to make sure that we keep track of what is the current question, right? Because we're having an array of questions right here. So we want to check what is the current question so that we know what's the next question. So I have another variable below the questions here called current question index equals, let's do it 0. Okay, equals 0. Because the first question is always 0. And then inside our function IB action, which performs a function right here, we will write in current question index plus equals 1. It means that we increment the current question index. Okay, so we want to jump into the next question right there. All right, and then what I want to do is I want to check how many questions are there inside these questions. Okay, I will tell you why do we want to do that, but let's do it first. I will do a let number of questions equals to the questions, which is this guy, right? The questions here is this guy. Questions dot count. Remember that you have to use exactly like what I just typing in. Okay, so what we do here is we create a constant. Let means that it is a constant, a variable that cannot change the value. Like the current question index right here, it is a variable. So we can change its value from 0 to plus equals 1. It means that we increment, we add one more into the value of this guy. I'm sorry guys, this is so morning right here. You can see that I'm 8 a.m. in the morning, so if I say something wrong, don't mess up with me. Then now the number of questions here is a constant, so we assign the value of count how many questions are there inside this questions array. All right, so this one is the number of questions inside our questions array. Next up, we want to calculate the next question index of the current question of the next question. So I will do it like this: let next question index equals to our current question index, and then I will use this thing modulus like that, the percentage key, and then we'll do number of questions. All right. Now, what this means is that this current question index right here, if it is like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, something like that, right? Then we use the current question index 10 modulus. It means that we want to find the remainder of 10 with the number of questions. Here we have the number of questions here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? So we will do 10 modulus. You don't have to type along with me here. What I do here is a comment. Xcode or Swift will not read this one. Okay, it will not mess up our code. Just a comment, a documentation. And what it returns here, 10 modulus 6 is equals to 4. So when we use modulus here, the result, it always stays from 0 to 5, right? Because now to access, here's the trick. To access each element of an array like this, we call questions an array, right? We have to use the index number. And the index number of an array is always, the first element is 0. That's the key. Okay, that's the secret. That's the thing that most people messed up with, especially when you get new to programming. That the first question, the first index of an element inside an array is always 0. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 6 elements, but we only have from index 0 to index 5. So let's do it next. Let's do it next here, and I will explain. And then we want to have the question label, that text equals to our questions. Subscript, here we use the brackets right here. Next question index. Okay? So what do we do here? We want to access the next question, the element, the question at the next question index. So if it is 4, then we want to access the index, the question that has the index 4 from these questions. Okay? So if it is 4, then we want to access 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it means that we want to access this guy. What was the first email ever sent in the world, right? And then when we have that guy, which is a string, we assign the value into the question label, the text. It means that we want to change the value of the text of this guy. All right? Now, believe it or not, when I run the project now, and let's run the project. Here we go. This is our app. Still look kind of like the same before, right? But now, if I click into this next question, click there, boom, it changed to the next question. What is the name of the spaceship first landed on the moon? Click next, we have what does umbrellas mean in Latin? Click next, we have what was the first photo printed from the camera. There we go. You see that? When even we click further, it still shows some question. So that, my friend, is the 3 steps for you to build your first app. Number 1 is your design these app UI. This app UI right here, we just design it, right? Number 2 is step number 2 is we have the data of the app and the connections from the UI to our code. And step number 3 is we execute or we write the implementation of the function of the app. Of course, this is really simple app, but we have a short time here together, but we did it. Hey, we did it. We just built your first iOS app in less than 30 minutes. I hope that I hit the mark. In less than 30 minutes, you just built your first app. Congratulations. This is huge. This is amazing, because now I want to share with you this quick story. Is that my first app that I ever built is like just one single label on the screen, not even have this button. And then my professor showed me to do that, and it crashed. I mean that it didn't run at all, and we have to waste like 4 or 5 hours. Couldn't figure out how it works. But now you just did it. Your first iOS app in less than 30 minutes. Beautiful, working, amazing, and you did it in less than 30 minutes. Can you imagine what would it be like if you just continue to learn like this every single day, every single week? I cannot tell you that in just oh my god, in just a very short period of time, you can build apps that is unheard of, like amazing.